Hello and welcome to another vibrant edition of Jamaica Magazine. I'm your host, Audrey Williams. It's the first Friday in June, and that means fresh starts, new opportunities, and plenty of firsts still to come. We're thrilled to have you with us as we turn the pages of today's show. Coming up, we step inside the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management, ODPEM, to learn about a powerful new partnership working to better prepare our nation for disasters. Plus, we'll explore practical tips on how you can get ready at home. There's a lot to discover, so don't go anywhere. We'll be back after the news.
Good day, I'm Theodore Henry, and this is your JIS News for Friday, June 6, 2025. A family of 13 displaced after a fire destroyed their 12-bedroom home on East Avenue in Kingston Central in 2021 can look forward to moving into their new multifamily residence within 6 months. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness was on hand for the contract signing and groundbreaking ceremony for the East Palms housing development on Wednesday, courtesy of the government's new social housing program. The $58.86 million development will replace the house that was destroyed in a fire suspected to be an act of gang-related arson, leaving the family homeless. The project involves the construction of 7 apartment-style units comprising 4 studios, 1 2-bedroom and 2 3-bedroom living quarters. The development will include external walkways, sewerage, plumbing, and electrical installation. While Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness expressed disappointment over the time it took for the development to commence, he also described the day as a transformational one.
We are going to transform lives that were destroyed in that fire, being deprived of somewhere to live, deprived of their furniture and their equipment and their clothing. We're going to transform the lives of children who were affected by this fire, where they had no place to study. We're going to be transforming a community that by virtue of this act of violence and the destruction of the residents, the community would have been depressed. The value of the community would have been depressed. We're going to transform them.
Meanwhile, 2 residents of Franklin Town in central Kingston joined the long list of persons who have now benefited from the new social housing program, NSHP. Paulette Robinson and Clive Griffiths, a disabled man, both received keys to their brand new homes on Wednesday. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness, who handed over the homes, highlighted that the community was suffering from what is called urban blight and said his government was working to reform areas like this. But he stressed that the residents too should consider how they can play a part in investing in their community.
Then you're going to want to invest. And when I use the word invest, you might think it's a big thing. Can I invest? Of course you can invest. If you decide to take down your zinc fence and put up a wall fence, that's an investment. Yes, if you decide to say, all right, I'm going to add on a little room, that's an investment. If you decide to change your little outside toilet to an indoor toilet, that's an investment.
Last week, Dr. Holness was in the communities of Sterling Castle and Shady Grove in St. Catherine, handing over brand new homes to Dorothy Allen and Nadine Forbes. He then traveled to Colonel Ridge in Clarendon to hand over another NSHP unit to Harold Carders and to Sandy River, where he presented Anita Johnson with her new home. The Ministry of Local Government and Community Development, through ODPEM, will be distributing more hurricane straps to Jamaicans this year as part of preparations for the 2025 Atlantic hurricane season. This was disclosed by the Portfolio Minister Desmond McKenzie during a meeting of the National Disaster Risk Management Council earlier this week. He says this will be a continuation of the Hurricane Strap program initiated by ODPEM last year following Hurricane Beryl.
And we are expecting this year to do the same by providing through the municipal corporations a couple thousand hurricane straps and this will be a part of the program of mitigation or relief that will be undertaken by the ODPEM.
Minister Mackenzie was responding to a charge from Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness for the local authorities to reinforce adherence to the building codes, especially as it relates to roofs. The Prime Minister says the need for this was made evident in the aftermath of Hurricane Beryl.
It was clear. Those roofs that did not use hurricane straps, those were the roofs that were destroyed. It was crystal clear. So it appears to me, and indeed coming out of the report, that the parish councils, the approval entities, and the Ministry of Local Government, through a national public campaign, must reinforce the building codes as it relates to roofs.
Minister Mackenzie says those discussions have started and will be intensified.
The discussions around the building approvals as it relates to how roofs are secured, Prime Minister, those discussions have commenced, and the building plan, plans that exist in the building code do also speaks to a specific area as to how construction around roofs must be done. But we will intensify those discussions as we go on, Prime Minister.
More than 20 health centers have benefited from improvements under the government's $1 billion Operation Refresh initiative since its launch last year. This was disclosed by Minister of Health and Wellness, Dr. Christopher Tufton. He was speaking with JIS News on Tuesday following a tour of the Little London Health Centre in Westmoreland, which is also slated for improvements under the project.
Operation Refresh has been in full throttle. A number of health centres, over 20 so far across the country, have been refreshed. Refresh really means new chairs, air conditioning to cool the area, new bathrooms, new doctors' offices, new equipment, essentially to lend back credibility to the health centres, to get more community members in those health centres rather than going and crowding out the hospitals.
Similar upgrades are planned for the Little London Health Centre.
We're going to be expanding to the back where we have space to create some more cubicles for doctors, or doctors' offices, for the staff, for the records room, all of which will be expanded. We're going to ensure that the waiting area is more comfortable with new seating. We're going to put air conditioning in the facility so it's cool.
The health facility has seen a 40% increase in persons visiting for curative services, and it's anticipated that the numbers will further grow with the upgrading work. And finally, JANAC Global Accreditation will spearhead a series of events to observe World Accreditation Day on June 9, under the theme Accreditation, Empowering Small and Medium Enterprises, SMEs. World Accreditation Day is a global initiative by the International Accreditation Forum, IAF, and the International Laboratory Accreditation Corporation, ILAC, to highlight the importance of accreditation in ensuring quality and trust across industries. JANAC's Acting Chief Executive Officer Dr. Yvette Castell says the agency is focusing on enhancing the competitiveness of SMEs and continues to work closely with the IAF and ILAC to ensure that accreditation services contribute meaningfully to regional development and global integration.
It is of particular interest to JANAC because our mandate of enabling SMEs to meet recognized standards will help to give them the credibility that they need to access new markets, to comply with regulatory requirements, and to compete globally.
The series of events will kick off with a commemorative service at the Stadium Community Seventh-day Adventist Church in Kingston on Saturday, June 7. JANAC will host an assessor meeting on June 9, looking at strengthening conformity assessment activities across the Caribbean and beyond. A series of webinars will also be hosted in collaboration with standards bodies across the region starting on June 10. And then Wednesday, June 11, will mark the first anniversary of JANAC Global Accreditation's rebranding as a strategic move reflecting the agency's expanded regional and international reach. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.
event of a natural disaster, the Jamaica Fire Brigade is ready to fire up the engine. The aim? To save lives, one of several government entities that are equipped and ready to tackle emergency situations. It's a go for these hardworking men and women when disaster strikes.
We are in the best place we have ever been in our history in terms of our state of readiness. We have a full complement of just about 2,000 members.
During a natural disaster, the Jamaica Fire Brigade offers critical services, including search and rescue operations, evacuation support, fire suppression, and emergency medical supplies. They also coordinate with other agencies to ensure timely response and community safety.
Our firefighters are on standby.
Thank you for staying with us. The Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management, ODPEM, is joining forces with the Japan International Cooperation Agency to level up Jamaica's disaster readiness, harnessing the power of strong, clear communication to keep communities safe. But how does it all work? Let's find out.
Jamaica is no stranger to the powerful forces of nature. From hurricanes and floods to landslides, these natural disasters remind us of the importance of readiness.
So we have mainstreamed in our governance disaster preparedness and readiness as a means of building resilience against the climate change issues that affect small island developing states like Jamaica.
In terms of the National Disaster Risk Management Framework, it's actually one of the best, if not the best in the America.
We are in the best place we have ever been in our history in terms of our state of readiness.
When disaster strikes, all eyes turn to the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management, ODPEM. In a crisis, effective and reliable communication is of utmost importance. That's why the government, through ODPEM, has forged a partnership with the Japan International Cooperation Agency, JICA, to strengthen the island's emergency communication system. The ODPEM-JICA collaboration aims to improve the emergency communication infrastructure in Jamaica by installing wireless communication systems and relevant equipment, thereby contributing to swift and robust communication between first responders and government offices to respond efficiently to emergencies or disaster.
Decom management to Spanish Town Fire Station. This is the radio check. How do you read? Over.
We are putting in place the necessary infrastructure for us to respond to these disasters. We would have already put in place all the necessary radios in their various locations. The Jamaica Fire Brigade, the police, every arm of government is equipped to communicate before and after. And this is a game changer for the people of Jamaica.
You don't want a system where you are relying on cell phones for communication. We saw what happened in Beryl, where a lot of the cell towers went, and there was communication blackout in some areas across the country. What you want to ensure is that there are redundancy to your communication, and our radar network gives us that kind of redundancy. In terms of the design, it is robust enough that allows that if one of the nodes go down, we're still able to communicate across the country, and it gives us roughly probably 98% coverage across the island.
Changing from an analog to a digital system is not an easy feat. However, with the development of the Project Implementing Unit, the ODPEM is sure the DCOMs and Early Warning System EWANs will be effective in strengthening Jamaica's responsiveness. Coupled with the island's Early Warning System EWANs, the DCOMs are expected to effectively bolster Jamaica's responsiveness to natural disasters.
The objective of the project for the improvement of emergency communication system in Jamaica is to enhance Jamaica's public safety and our national emergency communication system. This national emergency communication system is critical for the coordination of emergency and incident response among our various government entities or key government responders. It will allow for emergency agencies to communicate via one common platform. We would have installed radio equipment to include mobile radios, base station radios, and handheld radios at a number of government entities to include the Jamaica Fire Brigade, the Jamaica Constabulary Force, the Ministry of Health, the local authorities, and a number of other entities island-wide. We would have installed early warning systems under the project across 2 parishes in 3 communities, namely Old Harbour Bay in St. Catherine and along the Bog Walk to Angels Corridor in St. Catherine, and also in Port Maria, St. Mary. This, with the installation of this early warning system, it will create that alertness that it is a multi-hazard system. So it will be able to alert residents, commuters, persons who utilize these areas, these urban centers, for example, Port Maria, about the pending hazards or threats that these communities will face.
This site is owned by Aerotel. They manage the telecommunication systems for Jamaica Civil Aviation Authority. Part of the benefit of co-locating at this site is that this site is designed for aeronautical purposes. So they have a very high standard, especially where power is concerned, and also for protection against lightning. And also provides quite a bit of redundancy just by virtue of its location. However, our system is designed to run entirely on a battery system, and pretty much we have our systems charged by their power. Should a case happen where we lose power, whether from GPS or their power system, our battery system will allow us to have service for up to 5 days. This site here in Coopers Hill provides coverage for the entire corporate area. So all of the radios in this area will be connected to this repeater site here at Coopers Hill. And that's another advantage that we have at this location.
The DCOM system will also help several stakeholders within the National Disaster Risk Management structure to mobilize and mitigate crises.
During the implementation phase of the project of the DCOM system, the firefighters were basically embedded with a team of engineers that came down from Japan to install the equipment across the island. DCOM system that is now at ADPEM is manned by firefighters. So that's the rock and the knock, as is referred to. It's currently manned by firefighters, and these firefighters remain at ADPEM manning the system for as long as it's necessary. What we have done with this system is to make it a part of our daily communications. Once we're out in the field conducting, whether it's rescue or conducting firefighting operations, then the team members can communicate back to Central in terms of giving updates, live updates as to what is happening. If there is need for additional resources, that can be communicated in a reliable way, unlike what we have now.
We're able to introduce it as part of the communication platform during Beryl, and we were able to see some results. So it's a good thing.
The DECOM system is here to build resilience, plan for natural disasters, activate response efforts, and mitigate the impacts of disasters while maintaining an active and reliable communication channel.
One of the keys to making Jamaica a more competitive nation is education, and the ministry responsible for that is stepping up to the challenge with a sharp focus on transforming how we teach, what we teach, and how our teachers are trained. The ministry is working to create a more dynamic and inclusive learning experience for everyone.
Transforming Education for National Development trend is being implemented by the Ministry of Education and Youth and is focused on positioning Jamaica to become a more globally competitive nation. One of the 7 pillars that will guide the sector's change is teaching, curriculum, and teacher training. This guide underscores the critical need for continuous training, mentorship, and support for educators. By investing in their professional growth, the ministry aims to elevate teaching practices, thereby improving student outcomes and driving the nation's educational advancement.
When we think about Pillar 3, we recognize that whatever the curriculum is promoting, our teaching should be consistent with that. And it means as well that if we're helping people to grow, to develop, to implement the curriculum, we must be on the same page as well when it comes to teacher preparation. This is why when we think about Pillar 3, we should pay attention to the persons who are involved. So we see here we have parents and we have content coming from different individuals, we have educators, we have the learners. And we're seeing that at the core of all of this when it comes to teaching and learning is the actual interaction of people as well as what happens with our curriculum. Based on the evaluation of the education system, there are about 4 major recommendations that I would love for us to consider. And you can use an acronym to deal with that. The acronym, if we're making use of our cognitive strategies, NCCS. N is about our national philosophy for education. The recommendation was that it be learner-centered. The learner is at the core of everything that we're doing. Now, I want us to consider ourselves too as learners, because when you are actually participating in professional development activities, you become a learner. Curriculum implementation is basically about us changing. So if we have a new curriculum, it is about a new way of teaching. We are being exposed professionally to opportunities to change how we teach. We have to now be checking if what we're doing is leading to the change. We need to work as a community. We need to be more integrative in our approach to teaching, and we should pay attention to our culture and the aesthetics. Moving forward, we're depending on you to be promoters of our national philosophy. We're also opening up the door to you. We're saying, guys, just look out for the call in terms of reviewing the curriculum so you can be a part of that process. We're also working at developing a co-curricular framework, and you will also be integral to this process. capacity building, we're going to treat learner-centeredness intentionally in light of the gap that you'd have spoken about, you'd have indicated. And again, we're going to ensure that our policies are ready, our policies are consistent with our national philosophy. So as we move forward, I'm just encouraging everybody to let's get on board. Basically, under God, I pledge that I'm going to follow through in light of Pillar 3.
BGLC, the regulatory body. We regulate, you play without worry. We regulate, you play. BGLC, fair play when you play. For the fun of the game, you know we're there. BGLC, keep it fair for the player. You play the game and we are the rules setter. Keep everything fair so the game play better. The Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Commission. We ensure fairness, integrity and responsible gaming practices. Keep the game fair and fun for everyone. We regulate, you play.
Kidnapping in Jamaica is a serious concern, though it occurs less frequently than other violent crimes. The offence is addressed under both the Offences Against the Person Act and common law. Under the Act, kidnapping is defined as a forcible taking of a person against their will, often with the intent to demand a ransom. Today we hear from law enforcement personnel within the National Strategic Anti-Gang Division, part of the Counter-Terrorism and Organized Crime Unit, on how they handle these cases.
All cases of kidnapping that are reported to us, once we start our investigation and we have our negotiation going on with all of our trained officers, we have the hostage is released. So for last year, we had 18 cases reported, right? 18 cases reported. We have to investigate all cases until the alleged hostage is returned home, whether it be fake or not. And we have 4 this year. We charged 6 persons this year for those offenses. 2 of them were genuine, 2 children, as usual, as we had spoken about, but 2 were genuine, and we charged 6 persons in those 2 cases.
What can people do to protect themselves from being kidnapped?
You know, the message is really a general message. It's one of safety, right? Be aware of your surroundings. I often see persons on their cell phones even while walking. When they're in the bus, when they're on the taxi, they are not aware, they are totally oblivious to what is going on around them.
Parents are also urged to stay vigilant. Teach children not to talk to strangers or share personal or family information with unfamiliar individuals. We've come to the end of our program. For a full recap and more, visit our website at jis.gov.jm. I'm Audrey Williams. Bye for now.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.